All right, Reseat, let's check this out and see what's going on. First, I apologize for my microphone. Hopefully, this sounds okay still. This thing worked yesterday and it does not work today. So, I am using my headphones microphone now. All right, so Reseat, carefree invoicing for freelancers. So, I went through the site, I looked at the content that you have. I see that you're in early access, so you're building a wait list, um, a notification list, and I get I basically get understand what you're doing right off the bat. Um, Carefree invoicing, so I know what you're going for. So what I did was I screenshotted your site, put it into Figma so I can write some notes and draw some lines and squiggles and arrows on it. And then I also took a look at some of your comparisons or competitors that offer other invoicing services. Um, so I'd like to know if this is you're just trying to get interest, grow interest in it right now and gather emails, or if you've already built this. I'd be interested to know where you are in that process, if you're just putting out a feeler. Um, and I'd also like to know how this is distinct, how you're going to distinguish this from other invoicing options. There's so many invoicing tools out there, and people are building them fairly often. Um, from either just invoice generators to invoicing applications to software bundles for business management. So clearly, you call out freelancers, and so that's kind of what you're targeting for. Um, we'll get into this in just a moment. So let's hop over to Figma and take a look. So here is your website screenshotted. I've already added a few notes here and there, and then here are some of the comparisons that I pulled for this, that you could take a look at. So the first thing so we got to think about the stages of where your product is. So you're pre-launch right now. So there's pre-launch, there's beta, and then there's sign up. Full product launch and sign up, and then growth. But you're at the pre-launch stage. So the one thing you want to do is gather emails, because that's going to be beneficial to when you do launch. And that's really all you can offer right now is for people to get on a wait list, or maybe not even calling it a wait list, but a notification list. Notification list seems more um, general. A wait list sounds more like, hey, we are already letting people in, we already have people using the product, and you just can't get in yet for whatever reason, if we're just letting in a certain number at different times or whatnot. Um, but I think you're going with the right text right here, at least for now, is get early access. I would probably add some subtext to that to say what that is. Like you could say, bring it. I mean, you could say it's a wait list, or you could say it's get notified when we launch, or now accepting beta testers, something like that. I kind of like that one. Now accepting beta testers, because that really puts it out there that, hey, this is an active development. It's moving quickly. We're getting testers, and we want people to get to get in line to get access to the tooling. So that's kind of why I like this one. I might go with something like that. Now accepting beta testers. Um, I'm hopping around a little bit here. So let me move over to the structure of a landing page. The overall structure, this is kind of my go-to setup for how I like to structure something. So the above the fold and the below the fold. Above the fold is everything that a user sees upon page load. So if you're on a desktop, then it's probably like 900 or so, nine something. Uh, is that right? That's not right. Oh, I know why. Watch this. Yeah, when I screenshot it at on a Retina, it doubles the size. So if I shrink that down to 50%, that's actual size for my Retina laptop. That makes more sense. So let's set this to 900 as a height to get an idea of what people will see when they first land. And now this 34 size font doesn't make sense. There we go. This is already looking better. Okay, so here's my structure of how I like to format, lay out and format the content for a website. So every site needs several things. Um, and this isn't a hard, fast rule that you need every single item on this list, but it's good to know about and take into account that you need to hit on each of these topics in some way to properly inform your visitors and convert them into paying customers. So above the fold and below the fold. Above the fold is everything that a site visitor sees when they first land on the site, and that depends on their screen size really. But there's some amount of wiggle room around this line. And then below the fold is everything below that. And these terms come from the traditional newspaper industry, and it's a kind of heated conversation sometimes in the design world because the fold doesn't exist, and people get into arguments about, well, do people scroll? Oh no, we gotta cram everything up right up in here to the top. No, you don't. Build it with intrigue and interest to make the person want to scroll. So sometimes that's having content that's broken across this line. It's like, oh yeah, I mean, scrolling is natural, especially on mobile devices. So don't worry about that too much. But you want to set up a nice picture for what people see when they first land on the page, and then entice them to continue to scroll to learn more without having to put, like, no offense to some people, but putting like those arrows that are like bouncing and stuff, or saying scroll, keep scrolling, stuff like that. I don't think you should have to say that to get the person to continue on. So you have your hero, and then you have below the fold. So the hero is broken down into 5 points of content. So you have your headline, your subtext, a visual, social proof, and a CTA. Social proof is the one that can be more difficult to get when you're early on and you're starting out. So that can be an optional one until you can get some sort of rating or reviews or comments on your product. The headline, so you have the setup the right way. I mean, you go to websites and you're going to see this same structure again and again of the headline, the subtext, the CTA, a visual. So you know what's going on. You already know about that. What I would recommend, actually, let's see, where are they? So I rewrote the headline just to noodle around on it some many times to see just other ideas of what I could come up with. So you're saying that your target audience here is freelancers. So there's no other target audience. That's good because it narrows that niche down super tight, and you can speak specifically to the freelancer client that needs to handle invoicing. And you're selling an invoicing software tool. You're not selling anything else beyond that. Um, so I like that aspect a lot. I like this idea that it's kind of coming. Previously, we've had all these monolithic SaaS apps that want to do everything for you, and now we have more micro SaaS, and I like that a lot personally. I think a lot of people in our community like that, indie hackers and whatnot, and I think it's right, and on the uptick because a lot of them QuickBooks and stuff they're too big, they're offering too much, and you're only using 10% of what you're actually paying for. So I think this is a good direction. This works. I think you could rewrite it some more to get other ideas. So maybe check out my the stuff I wrote up, compare it to yours, run it by some people. This subtext right here, this is too long. So I like this is good before and after. You want that, but you're gonna want that to be a full section somewhere because that's gonna be like a really important aspect. Not right here, but somewhere else. Um, this needs to be 2 lines of text at at most, and it needs to reiterate your um, your headline and provide value. So here's so we talk about a lot about features versus benefits. I kind of like writing my headline and my subtext in this way. Sometimes it makes sense for the headline to be all about a feature. And if that's the case, then I like to make my subtext all about the benefits. But other times you can write your headline to be about as a benefit, and if that's the case, then I can write my subtext more with features. So consider that when writing headlines and subtext, and maybe do both. Like here, just come up with some ideas of how of flip flopping those. Um, so some of my so I have some notes that I'm reading off of that I've been writing down. Uh, for like if you have no idea what to write, a simple headline could be something like action verb plus desired outcome plus time frame or condition. And a subtext could be clarify the offer, highlight a key benefit, plus address a common objection or concern. So let me post those here. This is the formulas. It's huge. All right, so that's the subtext one. And this is the headline formula. And like I said, with the structure, this is just the rule of thumb and a good way to go if you need direction. Rules are made to be broken. And so none of these are hard and fast rules, but they help you get your mind going and writing different ideas out. All right, so let's continue on. So your CTA is the one thing you want people to do, and you're in pre-launch right now. So the one thing you want people to do is give you their email address. So honestly, you know what? You may not need a button. What you may need right here is an email input field. So just skip the whole button idea and put that email field here so that people can click in directly and start typing. What I don't like about the way it's currently set up is when I click, it pops me down to the bottom of the page. I would rather that you could make this convert into an input field or give me a little pop-up. I would prefer that than hopping to the bottom to this block right here. For one, we're going to talk about this CTA more in a moment. So the other thing that you're missing is you need not a coming soon text here, but you need your CTA. And your CTA should be consistent across the board. So get early access button right here. Get early access right here. Get early access right here. And I would also make this nav bar sticky. You don't really have a lot of you don't have any links right now. You could, if you have more sections and you wanted to break that out and scroll them down the page, you could do that. But I would definitely make this a consistent CTA with what you're saying right here. So this could be an open email input field, and then maybe this is a button, and it takes it I don't know, highlights here. I just said I don't know, but that's the gist. It was like make them all more consistent, and as far as your CTAs, and have a common action. And that's why I'm saying I don't know. Okay, so if it's a button here, then you could do a pop up with the email. If it's a button here, you could do the same thing. If it's a button here, you can do that. And then because you also have these for each section, so if you did a little pop up for an email input, that would work no matter where this button is on the site, on the page. So I would do something like that. I like this setup right here. I always like seeing the actual product versus cartoons or cartoon people. I would definitely recommend that. What might help here is when I just based on looking at the sizing and the layout, it feels too wide to me. I want it to be more like right here to right here. That feels more comfortable for some reason to me. And then a lot of times adding that little browser bar at the top can help distinguish your imagery from the actual website that they're looking at. That'll make it very clear that, hey, this is a clip of the dashboard. One thing that you can also do to not take up too much space and have like this strange, not strange, but this big block image right here is put a fade on that. So this is you have a fade on the background now that I'm looking at it, but maybe you do it on the entire. Okay, so that's white, so let's turn that to white and that to white. Let's flip those, but you could do that along these lines where the image is also fading with the background, so that way your dashboard image is still visible and interesting, but it's not as large, and you could start to pull something else up into here. I wouldn't put this right here, but I would go for something along these lines, logos or testimonials. So that needs to be like key, is you need to start gathering social proof. Now, how do you get social proof when you haven't even launched yet? Good question. Because you don't have any businesses using it and their logos. You don't have any people using it, maybe, and their logos or testimonials. So what can you do? Well, you find some people that you respect and that respect you and want to help you out, and you get a testimonial quote from them about how excited they are to use about the product that you're building, or that how excited they are to use it whenever it does launch. So that's how you can generate some sort of social proofing and have real people involved even before you have a launched product. So I would highly recommend that. People want to see real people and real faces. I always like to put avatars in with the testimonial quotes. There are my favorite way to write them, and all the content is the actual text, their name, their role, and where they work, plus a avatar image. And then I also, if they put their role and where they work, I like to link that business name as a link to their website. I think that just covers all the options that prove that this is a real person saying something. Because we often see these stock photos or UI faces that designers and developers pull from websites. And so, you know, I would I I always question what I see. And so if it doesn't look real to me, I'm gonna guess that it might be a fake testimonial or something. So that's one way to start working on your testimonials. That needs to be top of line. So I think so that I would go for that. That would just combine these two ideas, and you want to have at least three testimonials up here at the top. If you have more, then you could that's where you can add more testimonials to this section. And then if you have a lot, then you have a dedicated testimonial page. So these testimonials, you want to have three testimonials for more social proof. I say you want to have 7 to 12. And then if you have, um, 20 plus testimonials, you want to have a dedicated testimonials page. All right, so product demo. What does that mean? Product demo is typically, it could be a video, 50 seconds or less, demonstrating your product. So if you can create that, it could just be you doing a screen recording using the product. Or if you can have like a live demo of some sort, then I like those two. Something interactive is the best way to go. So it's either going to be a video that somebody clicks and watches, or it's going to be a live demo. And a live demo for what you're doing, like maybe it's an invoice interface. So here's the invoice, and you have some fields right here, and you can input those things, and you can click a button, and it will actually generate a PDF or something right there, or just a view of it. So something to engage people right here for the demo. After demo, it comes your features and objections, and you have this set up the right way. So there's many ways that you could lay this out. The left-right Z is very common, and a good way to go. What I would recommend here is you can structure it similar to how you structure your hero. So each of these sections will have a headline, a subtext, not necessarily a CTA, but get early access. I think this works. So for an early access product, I think that works. And then a visual. Now, what you can do to up this a little bit is sometimes people have an overline text is what I'll call it. Like maybe it's just one word or two words that are in all caps above that. And then, so the way I would make this better is you write the headline. The headline spacing size is about right. And then make this shorter. I would write 2 sentences at most, like that. And then put a bullet list of something. So it could be bullets, and it could just be features or benefits, or it could be a checkmark list of something similar. And that's one way you could easily update this and structure it into a easier to scan way, because there's two types of people that read and people that scan. And so readers, they'll come and they'll read all the text down. Other people, they're just scanning for the headlines and then looking for other key visuals that they can latch onto. And one of those is something like bullet points. So they can scan those really fast compared to a block of text. This is good because like I said about this up here, I want to see the product and how it's actually being used. I don't like when people use like those bubble humans that have been really popular and kind of a fad. It's cool to have those illustrations, but it's not as powerful as actually showing the product or showing the product in use. A way to upgrade from this state is to turn it into a GIF or multiple images with a little bit of movement or something like that. Whether that's, so that could be either on a clean white background or on a box. It doesn't really matter. That both work. It makes sense. I do want to take a look at how the other competition are handling some of these features. Um, we'll see if we have time for that, or else you can handle that on your own and take a look. What I would say is sometimes whenever you're doing the Z pattern and you're getting down to about four feature sections, it's kind of a lot and very long and more verbose than it actually needs to be. And you could come up with a way to trim that down. So you might just have like a features section. So here's a heading, here's a text, and then you could have a breakdown of features, but much smaller. So then it would say like um, different little aspects. So head text, 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 and then like one image representing whatever that is. So I'm trying to think of what it would. Notion does a really good job of this. If you go take a look at their website and find the spot where they have their features or their little micro syntax and stuff broken out into a bunch of different blocks. Let's see. I was thinking about something else as I was saying that. Oh, you could also. I think some of this stuff, like recurring, is really important, and always get paid on time, and always you get paid on time. I think this needs to be pumped up and much more interesting and powerful because just having these little tags right here doesn't really do it full justice. So I would like to see something like almost like a graphic. So it'd be like invoice, and then that's sent to the client, or I said graphic, and then like a reminder gets sent out because it hasn't been paid, or maybe that's like this or something like that, and then back to the client, and then cha-ching, money in the bank, and then you put your text above it. Just something with a little bit more work. If you make it to that point, you could upgrade how you're laying stuff out and the imagery you're using. I'm gonna skip the rest. What I want to see for a CTA, a second CTA at the bottom, is a reiteration of what you have in your hero, um, and and but in a slightly different way. I do like the so I know this is probably minor, but so you look at this section, and I would say this is a full width section, and same here and same here. These are sort of boxed in as images, and then this is boxed in. I like to box in my second CTA like this because it really makes it stand out. Now, um, what you're missing that I think you need to add is a founder's note at the end, and that could be a photo of you of any kind, just something. Hello, my name is. This is two paragraphs about me and why I started this product project, and a signature, and then add some links to your Twitter or or LinkedIn, stuff like that, that validates who you are, that you're a real person behind this product, and that you're trustworthy, and that people can find you elsewhere. You're not just some scammer that threw up a website trying to get people's money and then you're going to disappear. So I think you need to add something along those lines because you're an indie hacker and you're building this. You do the same thing if you're an agency or a big team. Like you got to have something about the team and the people behind it. Also, people want to see real people, real humans, and so having a photo there helps with that. Just like having photo avatars here helps with that. I think actually I didn't even mention this up here, but I think having people up in this section would help. And one great example is over here. Look at how Bonsai handles that. So they have very nice design, a fantastic design for their site. Oh wait, look, boom, right there. Email input, and it's ready to go. This is nice too. If you ever once you get to that kind of place. So they have their headline, they have their subtext, they have their CTA, they have their social proof, and then they have their imagery. And it's a person. So you got that human element, but they intersperse these cool little graphics on top to nail home kind of the UI and application side of things. But then also, oh, here's basically that dashboard view that you were using, plus mobile, and it has this nice background. That's a really cool way. Oh, there we go. This is kind of like your use cases section. I like that a lot. This is one way that you could hit on some of those features without breaking them all out into multiple sections. I don't like when it's a rotator, so I don't know if this one's a rotating carousel from one slide to another or changing these. I just like it more whenever that's what I'm guessing based on this arrow. I like it more when you just have like one image graphic that uh, is encapsulated by these three items. Um, let's take a quick look over here as well. So this is a good way to handle like 4 features that you need to plug. This site was cool because it was very playful. I would definitely go check it out. It didn't screenshot super well because it had a lot of sticky and on scroll animations, but check that out. And then this one was a different style as well, and it also didn't screenshot very well. Um, so there it is. All right, so I didn't touch on a few other pieces, but we talked about features and objections. Use cases. What I like about use cases and putting that in here is I want to talk about the people and the I guess use cases. Use cases in for people and use cases for actions. So use cases for people would be a design freelancer or a freelancer or an artist or any other kind of job types or roles that are common freelance jobs. And then for the like action use cases would maybe it doesn't apply to this. I'm sure you could come up with some invoice for pet sitting. Like you could write stuff like that. Invoice for graphic design. Invoice for car washing or something like that. And so that you want something along those lines with the roles and the actions so that when people are reading your sales page and they see those use cases, they're like, boom, that's me, and boom, that's me. And so they see themselves using your product and how they would use it. Now, you can't put 100 use cases, so you got to pick a good 5 to 15 and really decide how you're going to lay that out well and cover all of those. FAQs, I think you also need FAQs. So my rule of thumb is for an FAQ section here is FAQs, headline, and then 5 to sometimes 12. 12 is a lot. 5 to 8 FAQs right here. And once you get to over 12 plus, then you need to have a dedicated FAQ page. So, look at what other SaaS products and indie hacker SaaS products are saying in their FAQs. There's always something that you can expound on to help people understand your product and answer some questions around the product and pricing and sales and cancellation, lots of stuff like that. So pricing, you do need pricing at some point. Like at least give me an idea of how much this is going to cost. Is this free for freelancers, or is this going to be like a free tier, a starter tier, and a pro tier? So give me some ideas on that. That will probably narrow down whether people are interested or not, because they may not want to put in their email and address to find out later on that it's a paid service and it's going to be $999 per month. Um, so set some kind of pricing expectation here while you can. All right, so a couple of last thoughts. I I like the general direction that you're going on the design. It's very soft and it's minty and natural, but I think it's lacking a little bit of sharpness to it. Um, and I don't really know what to suggest right now. I'm assuming making some assumptions that you're a developer and not a designer. Um, but I think I saw you say you use Tailwind, so I would definitely look at some of the Tailwind kits that people have created and provided to find the right look. You don't want to look like Stripe with what you're offering or a bank, but you don't want to look like a a kid's coloring book or a planner for women. So you need something really fresh and in between. And so that's one reason I put this bonsai here. I like how it looks. It's very sharp. It's limited on its colors. It and and it handles it really well. And it's something that you is I would say gender neutral. So um, which is good in my opinion for your product. Like Square, I think it's too techy and developery. This is much more approachable. This one, like I said, it's kind of fun and interesting, but like I said, I don't like. I would rather see a real human right here, and then these kinds of blocks than a cartoon human. Um, so this is like on the edge of too playful and whimsical for me, but you know, people like it. People do like this style too. So that could be your target audience. And for freelancers, that may make sense. So it's colorful. It's got some whimsical nature to it. And then this one's like professional designer, strict design, but very well designed. It's still got some pops of color going on, but it's stark and it's um, very serious, but with a little bit of pops of color here and there. So do what you can. The design of a product and the name and the domain and the favicon are not what's going to sell your product, and so they're not your primary concern. Getting customers and feedback is, but to vamp right off of that as well. So I think the design overall could be tightened up a bit. Even sometimes it's whenever you have all these desaturated colors, that's kind of what makes it a soft pastelly palette. You may be able to just pump up like this text and go full black or very dark blue, and then I would tweak this red to be a bit stronger, and you'll probably like already see a huge difference in the strength of the designs. You know what might look really good is if you have these boxes here, but then fade it to white, just like I did up here, because you're almost fading to white in this corner. I bet you could play with that a little bit right here, and it would look really interesting. Something like that. So I think you got a lot of options here. I like where you're going. Oh, one more thing. This right here, this is a widow, called a widow, text widow. Um, you want to try not to have a single word or like U or something like that on the last line. So different ways to beat that. One, you could put a non-breaking space between these two last words, so you guarantee that they're never going to be separated. That's one way that I do it sometimes. Um, or you could adjust the line length or the font size. Let's see. I wasn't sure. Let's see. What typeface is this? Fonts Ninja. UI Sans Serif. System font. I like that. I'm all for system font usage and high performance. Let's turn that off. Is it off? Turn that off. H1. I know I said I was just wrapping it up, but here I am. Where is the color for that? I don't know. See, I already like that more. That stark, strong black text. And some people say don't ever use pure black. Yeah, that's kind of true. So what you might do then is move this slider to a color somewhere and then dip this up a little bit. Boom, right there. You can't really tell. It's very subtle, but it's not black. And then let's take a look at this other text right here. Fonts Ninja thing kind of uglified my markup. So I think this is also where you need to reduce the amount of text in here. It's too long. Oh, I see. It's split up multiple times. Okay. Well, I think that gives you plenty to think on. That's really what I want to do here is help guide you and offer insights and ideas that get your brain churning. What I want to challenge you to do is get this out there. Get people, share it where you can. Get people in here, signing up, gathering emails, and start teasing this as you can. Well, was not even seen until now. So that's not really doing anything. You don't need to say features either, right? Yeah, the easy way, a lot of times whenever I'm writing different sections, I may call it features, and then I may make one that says use cases, and then I may make one that says testimonials. But then you come back later, instead of features, you could be like, what makes how this is how Reseat is different, and then boom, here's your features and benefits and objections. The name Reseat was interesting to me. I like it. Your name doesn't have to reflect exactly what you do, but I do with the word which a lot of times is like reply or reset or something like that, and then seat. They both have specific connotations that don't really make me think anything neutral or anything along the lines of finance or business or invoicing. But you're still in a Vercel subdomain, so that's no problem. You could always rename it, or depending on what kind of domain you ultimately get. But I hope this was helpful. Take care. I can't wait to see your continual growth and output, and I'll be keeping an eye out and looking forward to see what you do. Bye.